Yeah, I mean, the obvious thing is, a really bad second quarter. And we've seen it before where frustration takes over, so we rush some offensive things. That then puts pressure on our defense, and the little snowball becomes an avalanche. It's something we got as coaches got to do a better job with. That being said, certainly saw some positive things. We created some more opportunities for ourselves in the second half. We created a lot of turnovers. We didn't get as many scores as I would like to in the second half, and we needed them. So that stood out. We needed them. If we had played a better second quarter, we might not have needed them. But they're kind of right there, and we got to put it all together.
Coach, you mentioned the rebounding battle is going to be a big tell in this game. They had, I think, 6 offensive rebounds in the first 4 minutes. Big numbers from them overall. What did you see on the defense, on the glass?
Yeah, I mean, I thought early we should have had a better lead, and had a chance to establish some things there, and we were watching. And I thought we watched a lot in the second quarter, both offensively and defensively. And, then there was 2 in the second half that were really, really big. We had forced misses, and, one of the things that's kind of happened all year is we touch it and we don't pull it in. So we know that's something that we can improve in the spring and even as the season winds down. But, it wasn't like they took a ton more shots than us because we kept it. We created more opportunities through turnovers, but they did convert those, and they converted turnovers we had into points, and we didn't do either of those at the level we needed to.
And I heard you calling for more contact as soon as they made shots. Is it just a matter of physicality as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it's that. Some of it's just going and getting it. Like, we seem a step slow to the ball at times, So it's I think it's a twofold thing, and especially when you're not as big as your opponent, you've got to be really, really good with the fundamentals.
You also mentioned how you need to keep them and their guards out of the paint. They had a lot of paint points, especially early on. I think 12 in the second half, 16 in the first. What did you see on the defensive side?
Yeah, and I would say of those 16 in the first, probably 12 or 14 was second quarter. I think 20 hit a 3 in the second quarter. Other than that, it was layups, it was N1s. Again, we were poor on both sides. We were poor with our offensive execution, and we weren't where we needed to be defensively, and we dug that big hole. I thought, other than that, one of the concerns was them backing us down and powering over us. I didn't think we allowed that. I thought we did a good job against that. I thought when we trapped their forwards, I thought we were pretty effective. We weren't consistent. We gave up 6 points trapping their guard where we didn't rotate over. And again, those points stand out a little bit more when you have such a bad second quarter.
Thinking about the third and fourth quarter, I feel like the energy towards the end of the third quarter, towards the beginning of the fourth quarter was just completely different. Tell me what happened on that bench and maybe in that locker room that helped them kind of change their mentality.
Yeah, I wish I could answer that, Allie. I really do. There was no. At the end of the first quarter, I was pushing for that because we had the opportunity. Really, I felt we had a really good opportunity. I think we had the ball start second quarter, and it could just sense that we were not where we needed to be energy wise, and they fixed it for the second half. Obviously, we would have liked to have them fix it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and then their defense would change. Something that I haven't even seen all season, I feel like, from this team, especially in the fourth quarter. It felt like they were really playing in it toward the end, and maybe we haven't been seeing that maybe from the younger players as much. Tell me how this game maybe feels different from the beginning of the season, or maybe it doesn't.
Well, the one thing I said to them at the end of the game is I thought that we played with more urgency. And one of the things when you're young is there's endless tomorrows. So the urgency maybe isn't always there. And without a lot of older players, it's hard to incorporate that in. And I think we see that a lot where, we just don't have the urgency to one more step or to one more box out or to one more pass. And clearly there's a way of playing. At late in the game, there was a loose ball, and I think 3 of our kids dove on the floor and we won it. That's the way we have to play all the time, and that's something we're pushing to grow into.
Yeah, and maybe talk to me a little bit about Hannah Richardson's performance today. She did really well, had a career high, 13 points. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think she's had kind of 3 straight games of career highs. So she's getting better. And honestly, I think she could be even better. I think there's some things she leaves out there. She rushes a little bit, but as I've kind of said, she's been able to get consistent reps, and she wasn't able to get that all year. And now that she's getting it, she's seeing more and more good things happen.
We also talked ahead of this game about, you said your team might be playing a little too fast. Today, they were playing fast. It ended up working out a little bit in the third and fourth quarter. Tell me about that pacing.
Yeah, I think it's 2 different things. I thought we played fast in the second quarter, and when I use the word fast, I think we're doing things before we're prepared for it, whether it's a pass, whether it's a drive, whether it's a shot. But playing with pace is what we need to do, which is now you're doing the things at the speed highest that you're capable, and doing that with one another. The last few games, we've seen some pretty good looks of what our offense can be. We just have long stretches of it not being close to what it should be.
And then last thing for me, just what was that locker room conversation like after the second quarter? Because I can't imagine it was without emotion. I mean, tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, this late in the year, it's more factual. It's just here's what has worked, here's what has not worked. We just weren't moving. We just weren't moving defensively to get to lanes or to get to the spot, and we weren't moving offensively when the ball would go in the paint. We weren't, or ball on the post area. We weren't moving. We just and we weren't moving for rebounds. We started to move a little bit more in the second half, and good things happened.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Coach, Mackenzie Pettinelli had a great game today. Maybe not statistically, but defense, her game was phenomenal. She had a lot of deflections, a lot of takeaways, and she found the open player on breakaways. Can you talk to me about just how great her game today was and how great her defense has developed along how her confidence is built throughout the season? Yeah,
I mean, that's what we think Matt can give us. She's a very smart player. We believe she's a really good positional defender. And that was evident today. And I honestly thought she had 2 other shots that were down. She had a 3 and she had the pull-up that were down. So I thought she made some pretty good decisions offensively. She just didn't get as many rewards as I think she's capable of. And again, as I said earlier, we kind of got to put it all together. Like Hannah had a better game, and they did a good job on Danny. But I think we could have gotten her some more shots with better screening. And, Zoe, it was a little off in the first half. We forced a couple shots inside. We could have moved the ball. So, the consistency of getting some folks to play at that level, like Mac, is what we're looking for.
And then a little bit away from basketball, the pink game today. What does this mean to you, and how does it relate to you, and what does it mean for you to see all these fans in attendance today supporting people with cancer, and what does it mean to the players?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it yesterday. One of the things that's really important to us is that we do this and it stays in our community, because our community gives so much back to us. And being here today and staying till the end and supporting us on a tough day and continuing to support us on a tough year. We're very aware of that. We're very appreciative of that. We are working to reward them for that. But any time that we can give back to a community that gives us so much, it's what we should do, and we're glad we can do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Coach, so you mentioned that after the second quarter it was difficult. It was quite difficult for the team, but once they came out in the second half, they played with a lot more energy, and it just seemed like the tone completely shifted. The players were into the game, got the fans back into the game. How important is that second half performance for a young team such as yours leading through the rest of the season and going into next year?
I hope it's really important. We've seen We've seen a few of those before, and you know, we're off for a week now. But one of the things we talked about at the end of the game is a lot of times we're playing like we practice. In practice, we'll have a good run and then a lull. And we're trying to make them understand that we can correct what happened in games because by the way we practice. So hopefully that momentum takes us into spirited practices for the week, consistent practices for the week, and we continue to do more of what we're good at.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.